So we're going to go through this fairly quickly. We're really excited to choose who's going to be in our next mini assembly. Okay, so just very quick overview. You're here because of Rewrite LA. Rewrite LA is trying to open up the charter reform process to people who are usually let out of this kind of civic decision making or might just be unaware of what is going on. We're using storytelling, social media, and digital tools to reach Angelinos where they already are and invite them into conversations about how the city works and how they would like it to be working better. But the engagement does not stop online. We're also using mini assemblies to bring together small representative groups of residents to learn, talk through trade-offs, and surface practical insights for the commission. And all of this is building towards a full civic assembly in February 2026, which we're really excited about, as a new way to include everyday Angelinos in shaping the future of LA. So, small print, sorry, but just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of what the mini assembly looked like in December 13th. We're really excited about the full civic assembly, but today we're really talking about the mini assembly and running the lottery to decide who will participate in our January 11th one. Um, so the mini assembly is a one-day intensive process that brings in new voices and fresh thinking to decide about LA decision making. Our first one was on December 13th, and we used a democratic lottery, very similar to what we're about to do right now, to create a room that looks and feels like the city. The goal is to bring in residents who are often left out and give them a fairer chance to take part. The group spent a day learning together, sharing personal experiences, weighing trade-offs, around land use in particular, and they're now working on compiling that into a report. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to walk through the same kind of thing we did back in December to show you how these people were selected, what that process looked like, who applied, and more of that kind of information that you probably are not so used to since this kind of selection process is very new to LA. The best way of doing this randomized selection process is actually through mailings, just sending out mass amount of mailings across LA and getting people to apply. This is what makes it truly randomized. We used a very modified version where we went through local organizations and social media. So the representation is not 100% there yet, and we're going to talk to you throughout about how we're hoping to increase it. So, um, although we're doing our first selection right now for January 11th, actually going to keep the application pool open because we know from experience that there's going to be people who drop out, who are unable to attend, who said that they could, things like that. And we'd like to fill in those spots as best as we can to help increase representation from any demographics that are lower than census percentages. So I'm going to turn it over to Max.
Thank you, Alex. Hello, I am Max. I am a volunteer with Public Democracy in LA. I was in that little photo. I was at the December 13th assembly with Alex here, and we were very excited about the January 11th. So I think we had around 170, 180 people who signed up. Again, we wish we could ask all of Angelinos to sign up, but that was just we didn't have the funding for that. However, we still, in terms of gender breakdown, you can see here that we have a very equal breakdown between male and female and another gender identity. The orange line is what the LA Census data is, and the blue blocks are what we got. We also really wanted to match the geography of residents of LA. So you can see San Fernando Valley there is 24%, just slightly bigger than the Northeast. And this is a nice variety from the different regions of LA. This is what we had from our applicants. And then on the next slide, we can compare that to the census data. So you can see there is, we got a lot of Northeast applicants that's a little overrepresented by the census data, or overrepresented in our data versus the census. We didn't get quite as many folks from South Central or from the San Fernando Valley as there are on the census, but it, roughly matches, and hopefully everyone will have some representation. Okay, our next demographic was our age breakdown. You can see that we did get people from all ages. Well, it's a little, you can't quite tell in that middle center slot. That's a 16 to 24 age range. We got, I think, only a few applicants in that age range, but we did get a nice distribution overall. We wish we could have gotten some more 16 to 24-year-olds. But now, if we look at the census data, um, other than, yeah, that's the young 16 to 24-year-olds we just did not get too many applicants from them. Most of the other categories really fits that same sort of shape of the LA census. So we feel like the age category will be fairly represented in our upcoming assembly.
The next breakdown is race, and so we split it by multiracial, white, Native American or Alaska Native, Black or African American, and then Asian American or Pacific Islander. We did pretty okay getting representation from different races. We did actually make some slight changes in targets. So how this works is we're using this data in order to create targets for how many people of that demographic will be in the room. And so we did slightly increase two areas. The first is that we set demographic targets to be at least two. So for Native American or Alaska Native, actually, if we just use purely census data, it would just be one representative. But since we were aiming for at least two, we raised the target to two. And then we also adjusted the way for Black or African American to four. The target was, according to the census, was three. We also asked about ethnicity. The question was just, are you of Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin? So 42% of those who applied are of Hispanic, Latino, or Spanish origin. The political party affiliation, we did okay. We'd really love for more Republicans to apply by the end of the year. That would really help our room become more representative. We used our partners at Braver Angels Networks and also reached out to conservative meetups online to try to get more to sign up, but always open to more ideas. And the other one that we did less good on and that we could definitely use some ideas on, and if people in this call have some, is about education attainment. We broke it down by some schooling and no diploma, high school diploma, some college or bachelor's degree or higher. Most of our applicants were bachelor degrees or higher, and then we had some college, but we didn't get anyone applying from some schooling or high school diploma. For the last one, we were able to. So we know that people are interested. Maybe they're just busy during this time, or we didn't get the word out as efficiently this time. So we definitely would like some from these other categories as well. Okay, so that's kind of like the very quick rundown of who applied and how that compares to the census. And again, the reason that we're showing you this is because we use that census data in order to set targets for how many people will be a range of targets. So from like three to five or whatever it is, for who should be in the room. And then we enter that information into a software called Panelot. And Panelot looks at all of the respondents' demographics, it looks at all the categories and the targets for those categories, and it spits out potential panels that will as closely represent LA data as possible. We completely recognize census data is not perfect. The questions are not perfect, but it's the most complete data set that we have available for the LA city, and so that's why we used it. So what ends up happening? Well, I guess it doesn't want to show. Okay. So what it does is it spits out
There it
all of
goes.
these panels. Um, so it gave us 50 options and then we doubled it. So that way we have 100 options for panels for our January 11th event. So I'm going to go and what we're going to do next is we're going to randomly select a number. Each of those panels had a specific number to it. Okay, should I do it? Anything to add before I spin?
Uh, yeah, just to be clear, we had 50 generated panels, and then because we're going to pick a number from 0 to 99, we just assign the same 50, a panel, the first panel is number 1. That's also the same as panel 51. It's a little confusing, but all right, I'm ready now to pick our digits.
Okay. Okay. First digit is 2. Actually, the second digit because it does it in reverse order.
Hmm.
Okay. So
72.
channel 72. So Max, you could be so kind of to enter that into our
Yep.
Excel.
All right, we'll wait for the update.
And then we'll also wait for my computer to decide to cooperate.
Yep.
Okay. Hmm. Moment of truth. Okay. So here are the assembly delegates. What's going to happen next is that we're going to send out an email right after this call to those who were selected. We used ID codes to protect people's identities, so we're not sharing names, but you will hear from us both by email and then you will get a follow-up text to confirm that you received the email. We'd really appreciate if you could let us know by the 31st if you're available, and also to continue to spread the word so people can continue to apply and we can continue to make this pool as effective as possible. We'll do the next lottery kind of like this for those who dropped out on the very first of the new year as a fun celebration. Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you. So our next mini assembly for January 11th is going to be about the preamble and Bill of Rights, and Joe can give a few sentences to explain what that means.
Hi, I'm just not on camera because I think that I'm on the move and things are off. I'm Joe Matthews. I'm a journalist, fellow at the Bergeron Institute, and one of the volunteer co-leads with Rewrite LA. Our first, as Alex mentioned, our first assembly was about land use in the charter. The second one is about a preamble, a beginning, which has been something that the Charter Commission, the appointed Charter Commission, asked us about, and had been interested in doing. We've been trying to do some things that they haven't really gotten to. We're also in the course of that because many cities around the world combine sort of preambles or introductions or vision statements or missions with bills of rights or responsibilities. So asking people, if they think they want a preamble or a bill of rights, responsibilities, commitments, vision, and if so, what they want in it. That's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks,
And
Joe.
so then you might be wondering if you were not selected, there are still other ways to get involved. There is an ambassadors program um, that will help bring in more voices from across the city. Really encourage your friends and family to apply for the January 11th reselection pool. We'd greatly appreciate that. And there will be a platform opening up soon where people are going to be able to provide their own input and ideas for what the preamble should look like. So that will be opening probably next week. And again, the more people who are able to add their opinions, the stronger the mini assembly will be on January 11th.